Rolling.
Hey, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises unto
YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH.
Double honors to our apostles who are our elders, who rule well. Blessed citations to you brothers out there teaching and enduring truth and sincerity. Also blessed citations to the innumerable multitude and women and children that follow the truth and sincerity. This is the Nebraska camp, and we just getting straight to it. We were just doing some studying and going over Tobit, and through that, we came to a portion we were speaking on, marriage, and it led to the us going into the Bible manners and customs, and so we're just gonna go into the allegory of preparing the way for the Lamb, because it was talking about the wise and foolish virgins, and also preparing, bidding to the marriage. And the thing is that once you go into the actual marriage process, which we did, it shows you the significance of why the virgins, the wise and foolish virgins, were supposed to trim their lamps and have the oil. And it's ultimately to prepare and light the way for people, for YAHAWASHI to get to the marriage. And we'll read the custom just so we can give the understanding, then we'll go into the actual precepts that support it.
This is Manners and Custom of the Bible Times by RAWCHAA. It's page 63, the last paragraph. It says, another important element of the wedding was the procession at the end of the day. The bridegroom set out from from his home to fetch his bride from her parents' home. At this point...
Yeah, because this is a thing, just with marriage in general, just to speak on that, because, they even said that, rabbis and priests weren't there. It was an agreement between, groom and father, okay? And you had witnesses, the bridegrooms, like how it is now, just all fucking partying and shit. Like, the best man was the person sitting at the negotiating table as a witness and a consort or a counsel for counsel, and the bridegroom is there to help prepare, and which they still do in certain traditions, but Jake make a game of it more than
I got that paragraph if you want it.
Yeah, BABAQASHA.
This is on page 61. It says, a friend who attends the bridegroom negotiated on behalf of the prospective bridegroom and his father with the representative of the bride's father. Arrangements had to be made for work compensation to be paid to the woman's family, and a dowry had to be paid to the bride's father.
Yeah, because this is a thing, just like marriage is a covenant, this truth is a covenant, and it's not built off of feelings, it's built off of business. So when you sit down, YAHAWASHI sat us down. We had to repent. In order to get into the new covenant, we had to repent. All right, that was a part of the negotiation. We had to put in work. Okay, we had to make our diligence of a calling of election sure. That was our duties. That's a part of the covenant of the marriage. All right, so you can't just say, like in the actual marriage, women say, oh, you don't make me feel good, that's why I don't do my duties. You know what I'm saying? You can't say, well, this thing is hard, that's why I don't do lessons, or this thing is hard, that's why I don't pay tithes, or this thing is hard, that's why, I'm a lone wolf, or, you know what I'm saying? No, you signed up for this, so there's a responsibility that is owed. And the way that you're able to accomplish those responsibilities is the oil. And the oil is representative of this truth, okay? And our duties, just want to add, our duties, that our work that we're putting in is what paved the way. Because you're not like, just like with Israel, with Rachel and Leah, and what's your boy name, the father?
Laban.
Laban, he pretty much he had to work for him, but when he was working for him, it was building up Laban's enterprise. All right, but the way it was set up, because Laban was being cutthroat, that the Lord actually got it to where Jacob benefited more than Laban did. All right, but the agreement that they made was primarily set up. Laban had the idea like, I'm about to come up, but he was really trying to squeeze the onion and get both of his daughters off. And then like it was like he did like what 21 years. Was it 3 sevens?
7. Yep.
He did.
Yeah,
He did. So he did 21 years when he was supposed to just do 7. So Laban was squeezing an onion, and he's supposed to just keep it a bean. Of course, David wouldn't have got as much if he would have did that 7, but he would have got what he came for, and the deal would have been honest. All right, but so let's get back to what we're doing. I don't want to drag it out too much.
God, it says, at this point, the bride was wearing a veil. At some point, the veil was taken off and laid on the shoulder of the bridegroom, and the declaration was made: the government shall be upon his shoulder.
That's a heavy statement in itself. The veil, because the veil for us was rent. Okay, we're the bridegroom. All right, and YAHAWASHI, what's the word government? Let's get into the etymology of the word government. You know what I'm saying? Because it says the government was laid on his shoulder. Okay.
You get the word government in the etymon line. It says from late 14th century, act of governing or ruling. From the 1550s, system by which a thing is governed, especially a state. Control, direction, administration. To steer, to be at the helm of. The govern, rule, command, direct.
Yeah, so YAHAWASHI rent that veil and put it on his shoulder. And he became the truth, the light, and the way. He became the government. He's sitting on the right hand of the Heavenly Father because he's the one that, and it hasn't been solidified yet because through him being sacrificed, the marriage has been solidified, but the manifestation of what's supposed to happen hasn't yet. Okay, YAHAWASHI has the government, but there's certain things that has to play out, and he's not sitting on a throne in the land of New Jerusalem yet, but he's sitting at the right hand of the Father, waiting on his second coming, you know.
It says, a procession then set out from the bride's home to the couple's new home, and the dark roadway would be lit with oil lamps held by wedding guests.
So let's get the scripture that a woman shall, leave her father and the son, and they should both be twain. They should both be one. And when you go into, I looked up the allegory of shoulders in the Bible. And when you go into the AI overview, it says burden bearing and responsibility. Shoulders are the natural place to carry heavy loads, and this physical act is used to symbolize spiritual burdens and the weight of responsibilities. Example include, the Pharisees laying heavy burdens on, hard to bear, such on and so forth. And YAHAWASHI took the burdens of what? Sin.
Baby.
So once he took that burden, you can't come in here and say, I can sin. You got to do what he tells us to do. And he's the volume of the book. He's the word. He's telling us within the scriptures, all right, this is what you're supposed to do within his grace and mercy window.
Yep.
Con,
bro. This is Genesis chapter 2, verse 24. It says, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh.
Yeah, and that's very, very important. You're not leaving how can I say? You're not leaving their foundation like they built. If I got land and you go and marry somebody, you know what I'm saying? You're not leaving like the American way of marriage goes, where you think that, okay, I get married, I get my own house, I go do this. No, everybody stayed around each other. Everybody stayed together, and they built, and they stacked up. When you left the authority. You know what I'm saying? It's specifically the woman. You know what I'm saying? Because it's more of a business transaction and things like that. And that's what people got to understand too. And that's how it is with this truth. It's business. It's not about, with the average church person, they're praying for blessings, they're praying for this, they're praying for that, they're praying for my bills to get paid, they're praying, the Lord said he's going to take care of that. You're supposed to be praying for you to be able to have the strength to get the job done, for you to grow, for you to overcome, for you to get salvation, you need to pray for things that's conducive towards the business of the will of Yahawashi. And that's why he said those that pray amiss, he will not answer. Okay? And what's amiss? Things to consume upon your lust. Okay? As the scriptures say. So within this walk, this lamp that we're trimming, as we're reading, I want to read that again, BABAQASHA. It is to lead the way, because you're leaving from the old world, this world, to walking that path to the marriage of the new covenant. All right? And for that path to be it's a dark road. For that path to be seen, is on the men, women, and children. Well, the men and women that follow this truth and sincerity to light. Well, I ain't gonna say the women. It's on the men, because the men are to light the candle. Let's get that. Need to light a candle and put on a bushel, because we're supposed to light the way. All right, and that the reason why we're lighting that way is to help guide people to the marriage. All right, that's why they have billboards and signs, you know, to let you know if you're on the interstate, next exit is such and such, and you catch that exit. And if you don't have your lamps trimmed, you're not going to light that exit sign, and a person may pass that exit. Okay.
This is Matthew 5:15. It says, I'm going to go to 14. It says, ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on an hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house.
So that shows the power of the light. Okay, that shows the significance and what you're supposed to do with that light. You're supposed to guide people.
I got a preset.
Okay, not take it and be using it like it's a lightsaber or showing off with it and shit.
Yeah.
You know,
or just
trying to make
turning it on
it,
and off. Yeah,
extorting niggas. If you want me to turn my light on, you got to pay me this and that.
Yeah.
You know, trying to gather your own following because you have a big light.
I know a place where they can make it even brighter. Like, no, you just, you know what I'm saying? This is how the Lord got it set. It's Psalms 119 and 105. It says, thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path.
Ooh, that's it. So now we know what is the light. It's this gospel.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And you're supposed to light the path. So when we light the path, when people say, oh, I'm about to build a school, in 1,000 years, and that's not lighting the path. That's throwing people off of the path. Using your light to make a person go off of the straight gate. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to think your light's supposed to shine in a direction that's conducive towards the Lord's will, i.e. the straight gate. And it's that straight gate is a dark road. It's a dark path, and we're supposed to illuminate it by doing what? Being watchmen upon a tower, reporting the wars and rumors of wars, straighten Jake out when Jake started getting a spirit of veering off, or Esau, puts a spirit out there, Satan puts a spirit out there, and Jake could get into, like, not all, but just like the Corinthians and all, like there being a certain energy and a vibration, and Paul had to send letters. I heard this among you. You're doing this and you're doing that. He's setting a light up to straighten Jake out so they can make it to the marriage, man, to make it to the marriage chamber, because we're supposed to ultimately do what? Bid to the marriage. Let's get that, BABAQASHA. That's what we're ultimately supposed to do, is bid to the marriage. And the foundation of this, we got to get the virgins. That's why we wanted to get it first, but we'll get it. We'll let the spirit move, man.
That's that whole rip I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
I mean, but I can jump straight to there.
Let's get it.
This is Matthews 21 and 1.
Is that what the wise and foolish versions? That ain't that though, right?
Nah.
Okay, yeah. So let's get that.
Matthews 22 and 1. It says, and Yahawashi answered and spake unto them again by parables, and said, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king which made a marriage for his son, and sent forth his servants to call.
The king is Yahweh and the son is Yahawashi, right? So it's an allegory. Okay. The lamp is the truth, the gospel, and we are. And let's read that real quick again in the Bible Manners and Customs. I know it's like a little all over the place, but we got to keep reminding them that portion.
It says at this point, which part did you want in particular?
The dark road, they light the lamps along the way.
It says a procession then was set out from the bride's home to the couple's new home, and the dark roadway would be lit with oil lamps held by wedding guests.
Yep, and we are the guests. Okay, aren't we the guests? He said, bid them to the marriage, as many would come, and it's not furnished, so you come bid more. And who is that talking about? That's talking about people that is raised up and they're taught. Okay, that are on the highways and byways, the people that are believing in teaching, the people that we salute. You know, mainly the 144,000 specifically. Okay, they're the ones lighting the way, because we're the ones that's putting the light up on the hill, and that light is the gospel. That's why I excluded women, because we are to teach the truth. Women can't guide men. Okay, they're not to usurp authority over a man, so that's why women are to be excluded.
Yeah, because like you said, remember we was reading that the friend would be there with the bridegroom, figuring everything out. And what did the Lord say? Ye are no longer servants, for ye are friends. You know, so we right there doing negotiations and making sure everything is good.
We're playing the best man. We're playing the role of the virgins. We're playing the role of the guests. We're playing the role of the people that's ministers, like to serve plates. You know, because really what it is once you go in there, you pretty much a part of the wedding.
Yeah.
You may be a guest, but you got it. It's like a potluck.
Yeah.
You know, you may be a participant, but you also a person that's contributing.
I got a precept based off you said we playing the virgin. This is 2 Corinthians 11:2. It says, for I am jealous over you with godly jealousy, for I have espoused you to one husband, that I may present you as a chaste virgin to Hamashiach.
Ooh, man, call all y'all BAHASHAM, man. You know what I'm saying? Precept upon precept. You know, we're espoused as chaste virgins. Okay? So it's all an allegory, but the allegory is very important when you go into history and start seeing that, again, you lit the lamps to guide to the wedding, to finish the job.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
And that's what we're doing by teaching this gospel. And you cannot, they have to make it to that marriage chamber to solidify it. And if you light it the wrong way, or you don't got, we'll get to it.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
We'll get to it.
Because that part of that is in the book too. You want me to get the book then the scripture, or the scripture then the book?
Which is called the spirit. I know what's on you to get, brother.
It says, in the story told by YAHAWASHI, the bride and the groom were later than expected, so the oil in the lamps began to run low. Only those who had brought a reserved flask of oil were able to refill their lamps and welcome the bride and groom.
And that goes into what? The lamp is what? The truth. And you go into the scriptures, it tells you about the ant. Go to the ant, O sluggard.
Yep.
The people who plowed and did the extra work, the people who studied, the people who like, I gotta do this. There's people out here that's saying, you know, I don't gotta go out. I got my minions to do it. You know what I'm saying? There's people out here that, you about to say something, brother?
I had a precept, but you
get
it.
You get it. Cause you go ahead if you got it right now. So I was just gonna speak until you get it, but if you can get it out.
This is 2 Timothy 2:15. It says, study to show thyself approved, which that approve, it means tested, proven. All right. It says, unto the Most High, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Like you said, we have a responsibility. We have a job, so we got to make sure we doing it. It ain't no, well, I made it to this position and I can let everybody else go out and do the work. Well, guess what's going to happen? You didn't plow, so you won't harvest, so you won't eat.
Yeah, your lamp ain't gonna be filled. Their lamp will.
Exactly.
So once they get to a certain part, it's gonna get dark around there, and where that person trip and fall, and they gotta keep their garments clean.
Yep.
And that ain't gonna be the case. The Lord ain't gonna trip and fall. The bridegroom and the virgin is not gonna trip and fall. It's just you're gonna be pulled out, and somebody else is gonna be put there.
And you gotta understand that this ain't your day; that this is their day.
Yeah, this is their day.
You know what I'm saying?
Talking about, you got fucking your lamp got fucking decorations all on it, blocking the light a little bit and shit. Like, no, you're supposed to take pride in lighting the way.
Yep, being considerate of others, man. And through the spirit of YAHAWASHI, even though we're seeking out our own salvation, we're considerate of one of another, as well as ultimately considered for the elect's sake, man. All right, all of this is for the elect's sake. And Lord willing, we'd be at that number, but, you know, it's for the elect's sake.
It's for the Lord's will. It ain't for the whole world. It ain't for, heathen. It ain't for none of that. It's for the will of the Heavenly Father, which is to redeem the nation of Israel, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. So we're doing things that's congruent with that.
Yep. So you want the
Yeah,
the
we might as well get the wise
Okay.
and foolish versions now, and then we'll just go back to the other John.
Okay, Con. This is Matthew 25:1. It says, "Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom."
Remember the lamps and we're the virgins, right? We read that precept. The lamp represent the gospel. All right. So, they trimmed their lamps. Can we get the word trim? Because can somebody look up the significance of trimming your lamp? 'Cause there's a strategy to it. There's a real strategy.
It's to keep the wick pretty much clean, so you can burn so your flame can be higher, so it can burn brighter.
There we go.
So if you be lazy and don't trim it, you're not gonna have a high flame. It ain't gonna be that much light. So that's you putting in your work. You gotta get busy.
You can't just put in work. You can't just wake up and turn your lamp on. You gotta trim it.
Yeah.
You can't just be winging shit. You gotta study to show yourself approved. So when it's time to perform, you trim your lamp. Even the Lord, he purged the tree. You know what I'm saying? Which is to make it grow more. When you trim a tree and you trim a bush down, you want your grass to grow certain way. You gotta cut it down. Or you gotta trim a bush and trim off the wild hairs so that way it can grow better.
Yep. That's when you look up the word propagate, that's when you go into plants and you can take plant. When you look up propagate, it means to increase. Just like propaganda, it spreads, it increases, So when you propagate a plant, you take a part of that plant and you can plant it elsewhere. You will increase it and multiply it. All right. You got to keep it clean,
Yeah. That's what the whole thing is, to increase, not to say, okay, this is you're growing wild and you just don't want to get rid of that because it's you're too fucking greedy.
Yeah.
And then there's certain people that are too lazy. To certain people that because you got that all the time. You got talented people that don't work hard, and that's the people that have their lamps and don't trim it. You got people that goes into the talents. I know that thou is a hard man and this and that. You come up with all this bullshit excuse. You're supposed to flip your talents. You're supposed to gather your oil. You're supposed to tend to your lamp, all right, and you're supposed to be at your post, because you can't light the way if you ain't there, and if your light ain't shining bright, you want your light to shine as bright as you can, the longest as you can. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta tend to your truth. You can't just recite what the elders say. You gotta go and do your digging to trim your lamp to make your light shine bright. Not just say, oh, the elders say, I did that and I cast that demon out in the name of the Lord, like Paul said. You can't. That's not trimming your lamp. You know what I'm saying? You got to get into this gospel. Okay.
More of that comment, a quick precept was more of that.
I was into that.
That brother had a precept.
No, so I just had some on trimming the lamp on that speech.
Yeah, get it.
Okay, it says trimming involves removing the charred, burnt portion of the wick, which prevents the flame from becoming too large, smoky, and uneven. So,
yeah, so pretty much you trimming the fat, you dying daily, you getting rid of the excess fat, you getting rid of the bullshit. Because that lamp is burning, you know what I'm saying? So it causes things to fall off, just like wisdom. All right, wisdom will try you, okay? And the people that are wicked or unproven will fall off, and that's why wisdom tries. It's going to sit there and it's sifting. You know what I'm saying? And that lamp is truth, and truth is wisdom, right? So when you're dealing with that fire, bro, you gotta handle it. You know what I'm saying? You gather that oil. Ain't nobody say you just gather oil up. You walk to a store and just pour that shit up and just fill up, and it's based on how long you're willing to sit there and keep pouring. No, you gotta go gather that oil. You gotta go press. Yep. And roll out, however, you got to go through a process. You can't rush it because your oil might be too trash, too cloggy, too whatever. So you got to treat that right. You got to, every time you burn, you got to know, okay, let me trim my lamp. Let me make sure my light shine bright. You know what I'm saying? And you got to be on your post. So you got to be disciplined. You got to be disciplined. You got to be consistent. Okay? You got to be sincere and really have a pride. It reminds me of like a gun. You know, a lot of people would just put their bullets in, put it in a clip, cock it back, you know, go to the gun range, keep shooting, just keep shooting. And you ain't never worried about your firing pin, how clean your fucking barrel is, how off your aim is. Because when you really need your gun and it's time to use it and your shit jam on you, it'll be a wrap. Or if it shoot off to the left because of how you've been, or your firing pin fucked up. And then when you really need to perform, it's not going to perform because you haven't been doing the proper maintenance, preventative maintenance. Two, you know, we know about some preventative maintenance. Yeah. Go ahead.
This is the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 11. It says, and that ye study to be quiet and to do your own business and to work with your own hands as we commanded you.
Yeah, and don't mean that you gotta be by yourself, but you gotta get your oil, bro. You gotta get up and get your oil. Apostles ain't gonna be able to, everything ain't, they'll give us a foundation. They lay the direction. All right? They're one of the first people to light the way, to let us know this is the direction you need to go. And then we stand next to him. We stand behind him. And we got to monitor. They can't sit here and say, did you trim your lamp today? Did you? They're yelling down the line, trim your lamps. Trim your lamp. Trim your lamps. But, nigga, if your lamp ain't trimmed, you going to be fucking up anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to be trying to trim it. You know, some people need reminders, but you still going to be fucking up because if you had your lamp trimmed already, it'll be shining bright. You know what I'm saying? Then you burning your lamp because you ain't got enough oil. By the time YAHAWASHI get to you, your shit flickering out. You know, and you got somebody behind you like, shit, I got mines. You know, because let's get back into the wise and foolish versions, because it'll tell you like there's a sequence.
It says, Matthew 25:2, it says, and 5 of them were wise and 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps.
Yeah, that's like people that get in this truth, bro. Like, let's get that to whoever he have, even that, the Lord would take him. I believe it's in, is it Mark? No, Matthews.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But the foolish virgins, they had the lamps, but they didn't have the oil. You got in this truth. You called on the name, but you just never dug. You never, built. You never became a helpmeet to assist with the manner. You can't just have a lamp with no fucking oil in it, man. Your lamp needs to be used. You're not just here as a bump on the log. Okay?
This is Matthew chapter 13 and verse 12. It says, for whosoever hath.
Yeah, that's that oil. All right? Or you could say the lamp. All right? The oil and the lamp, but, it's synonymous, I would say, in this regard.
It says, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance.
Yeah, and that's that wisdom. That's the spirit. That's the guidance, okay? Which is being in his truth, okay? Synonymous with the lamp and the oil, okay? Knowing when to trim it. All right, let me gather my oil up. Let me study, man. All right, I need to start praying. I need to clean my body. I need to, be more consistent. I need to start working on this. That's you working on yourself as you gathering up your oil, man. Because you'll be ready in that day. All right?
It says, but whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away even that he hath.
You see? So the Lord will take that oil away from you, even the lamp in itself. Okay? So you have to appreciate what you have and flip your talent. All right? And it's very vital. This ain't no thing to say, okay, you're on a line. You're on a line, so you're needed. Everybody in this truth is needed. You're lighting the way for the land. Okay? We're lighting the path and saying glory unto YAHAWASHI, who purged us from our sins. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're doing. And those people that are on the line are the people that believe, and the people that believe are the people that repented, and those are the people that will get salvation if you remain on the line. But there's only one way to remain on that line, is if you gather your oil up and you trimming your lamps and you doing what the fuck you supposed to do. I.e., you can't be no bump on the log, just doing what the fuck you want.
God appreciate it. Was that it to yours, your call?
Yeah.
This is Galatians chapter 6, verse 4. It says, but let every man prove his own work, and then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone and not in another.
Yeah, you see? So when you did your work, your lamp, ain't nobody gonna be like, damn, that's a bright one right there. it's gonna speak for itself. You know, and we should take pride in our contributions toward this ministry. And that's why it's so dope to go into the marriage, and then how it's the allegory of the virgins, and how, again, that we're lighting the dark way. And it's not like Yahawashi can't see, but at the same time, he's allowing us to participate.
Yeah. We're invited. We're guests.
We're invited. Because he could raise up stones. He could just make the lamps light up on their own.
Yeah, easy.
You know, but he's using us, and that's fair, bro. That's cool.
Yeah.
Like, he don't need us. Like, but I'm gonna let you do it.
Yeah. He's giving us a chance at salvation, man.
Let it be Esau. He got AI robots. He gonna put robots up there, nigga, because y'all can't, you know.
They like themselves.
Yeah, but the Lord is allowing us to be a part of it, because we're here, man. We're a part of this thing, you know.
Back in the wise.
Yeah, oh, sure.
It's Matthew 25:4. It says, "But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there be not enough for us and you, but go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they were ready, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut."
So imagine, as he's passing you up, you following him, right? Everybody's in a line all the way up into the wedding, and the only way you get in is if he passes you up while your lamp is lit. So if it's a path and it's like 2 and 2, as he walk past the first 2, they get behind him. And the next 2, they get behind him. And then you're gone looking for your oil. And then
Russian sweating.
And then you may show up, but that line is gone. And you got to try to find your spot, but there ain't no more spots.
I got you.
Nobody about to leave and give you their oil and they miss their spot. Nah, bro, I got to light the way too. I'm trying to get the hell up out of here.
It says, "Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not."
Yeah, like, you would have been here if you wanted to be here. I've been told y'all, the gate of getting your oil, it's not like the oil we got wasn't enough. If it's not enough, it's because you didn't do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
The window is there for us to have more than enough oil. The Lord did that with the quails. Why wouldn't he do it with the oil? You know what I'm saying? He'll give us just enough.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, whether you overdo it, and if you underdo it, you ain't gonna have enough. Like, the Lord deals with sincerity and the truth, man.
It says, "Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh."
Yeah, and that's why I say go to the ant. When there's no problems, when you got the freedom, when you got the comfort, when you got the time. What is you doing with your first fruits of your labors? You should be gathering up your oil. You know, dying daily to who you are. That's worldly. Okay.
The point with the ant, like you said, the ant don't need an overseer. They understand, look, this is the only time I got to gather this because I know that cold is coming.
Yeah.
All right. Nobody has to monitor and continuously check the ant. Hey, you gathering food? You gathering food?
Them and shit.
Micromanage, exactly. Nah, they that's their only means of survival. Cause they gotta go underground for some months and they gotta make sure they got enough. And the crazy thing is, real quick, when it comes to ants, they send out ants to go search for food. Ants can smell food up to 100 miles away. So when they go and see that food, listen to what this ant does. It goes, find the food, comes back to the colony. Hey, I got us some food, grab some soldiers, and then they got to go and get the food and then come back and bring it to the colony. And this is all throughout the warm months, man. Mm-hmm. So that's work that they putting in, you know?
Yeah, diligence. You got to be diligent to go out there and go get that. You got to bring something back to the table. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't even want to go out and bring nothing back. Mm-hmm. They just want to be in the colony and wait. Where the food at? Why ain't no food here? Go gather your oil up. You won't have to worry about no food if you gather. You go gather. You know, and always have something again that It's just that bump on the log spirit, and it just, when I read it, it incited me to about my contributions to this ministry. You know, to know that I can be a virgin along the path that's lighting the way for YAHAWASHI. You know, just to imagine yourself on that path and he walking by, he see faces, bro. He see you. Oh yeah, I see you. Oh Rob, I see you. Hey, sorry, you called. Man, good to see y'all here, man. You know what I'm saying? What's such and such at? Where this person at? Oh, okay. Well, come on, we going. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it works. And ain't nothing you can do about it. It's like it's like I'd rather be on that line. And it shows that the beautiful part of our part we play and how significant our gathering up our oil is. None of us is non-significant when we are all individually lighting the path to YAHAWASHI and the nation of Israel to the new covenant.
Yeah.
We're very significant. You know what I'm saying? It's something to take pride in your work. You know? That's what it did for me, I would say. It gave me, it invigorated my spirit to take more pride in my work. To say, damn, man, my light can shine. You know, my light will be shining to not only to guide the elect, but to also participate in ushering YAHAWASHI and the nation of Israel to the new covenant. You know, you think your role is not that important. You think YAHAWASHI is doing everything with a vessel, which is true. But us being a vessel is very important, man. And he allowed us to be in that position. All right, that's why I said we're friends. And he gave us friends roles. Yeah. We ain't no fucking slave-ass role. We're in some good, decent, like, damn, bro, I don't deserve to be here role. You know?
That was
No, that. Yeah, let's get that the other one that you say on that last John. That's going to be more descriptive of the marriage in itself.
This is Matthew 22:2. It says, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king, which made a marriage for his son, and sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding, and they would not come. Again, he sent forth other servants, saying, tell them which are bidden, behold, I have prepared my dinner. My oxen and my fatlings are killed, and all things are ready. Come unto the marriage. But they made light of it and went their ways, one to his farm, another to his merchandise. And
it shows, this is significant. It shows you that the world can fuck up you gathering your oil, man.
Yeah. Yep.
These worldly obligations. He went to his farm. Okay? That's like going to your job. Telling somebody, hey, you need to stop fucking with that job. There's a brother that put out like, hey, man, you might need to switch that job, bro, if it's affecting you in the ministry.
God.
And it's a hard thing to say, like, damn, well, I'm going to take care of my family, meaning tell me I got to, like, then it's like, well, you got to have faith, nigga.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You signed up for this.
That's what we here for.
Yeah. You signed up for a certain lifestyle, man.
It says, in the remnant, verse 6, and the remnant took his servants and entreated them spitefully and slew them. But when the king heard thereof, he was wroth, and he sent forth his armies and destroyed those murderers and burned up their city. Then said he to his servants, the wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage.
And that's that wild branch, okay? That's us. We were once Gentiles, all right? And that's what happened with YAHAWASHI is that the Pharisees and the Israelites that were there, they even though they kept the laws, they were fucking pieces of shit and treating Jake like shit, and it wasn't conducive to us getting out of that situation. So the Lord just gathered true believers. They kept the laws, but they didn't believe in the way.
They rest judgment.
Yep.
It says, verse 10, so those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all as many as they found, both bad and good, and the wedding was furnished with guests. And when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there a man which had not on a wedding garment. And he said unto him, friend, how camest thou in hither, not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless. Then said the king to the servants, bind him hand and foot, and take him away, and cast him into outer darkness.
You can't come as you are. You can't come as you are. You can't come up in here wearing hats, prophesying with hats on. You can't come up in here a little leaven up the whole lump. You're teaching that is the name of the Lord is a higher. You know that is Christ. All right. You got on some other garments. You got spotted garments.
Yep.
You got to be dressed appropriately, and it's not like you're not going to be provided with the attire. Everything that we need to have is going to be provided properly. Okay?
Mm-hmm. It says, bind him hand and foot and take him away and cast him into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen.
Yeah, there's people out here that do the work, that fall off, that veer off, and there's ways that they veer off, and that's the allegory that's attached to them not coming appropriate in their garments. Okay? Some people get too proud, think they know. It's like, no, that's not how we wear these garments. Nobody told you to roll your sleeve up. Nobody told you to pop your collar. How Jake be trying to nigger rig shit. Roll up a pants leg. Crease in your pants. Nobody told you to do that shit.
Put fringes on a do-rag.
Yeah, put fringes on a do-rag.
I read across it popped up.
Yeah, it hurts.
I was
you.
like,
It's
damn,
like,
it's
wow,
serious.
it
This
happened.
is exactly how I envisioned it.
Yeah, it happened. Like, it manifested, you know?
Yeah, it was just talking in the spirit, bro. That's the spirit.
So, yeah, man, you know, it's very important. Our contribution towards this ministry is going to be historical, and we have a place. We have a place, and if you don't fit in that place, you will be pulled out, and somebody else will be put in. Because everybody, there's numbers here that he said, none of the least of them shall fall out of my hand. There's a specific amount of people that's going to get delivered. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's an innumerable multitude, it's still a certain amount of people. It's not like, I don't know. It's like, it's a lot. That's why it's an innumerable multitude. Okay? But it's not like, it might be 50 niggas, it might be 2,000. No, it ain't that. It's just like, it's so many that if you look at it out the gate, it's hard to count. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's the women and children, all right? And the men that follow as well, because there's men that may not be prophets, but they may be helpmeets to the ministry. You know, some people may be well off, you know, Nicodemus type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Where they can provide financially. They watch their lessons, they support. You know what I'm saying? And people may have time. You know, some people may not be in the position to be a prophet. You know, and I'm not sitting here saying that to go put yourself in that position. But you might be a fucking SEAL Team 6 Navy SEAL, nigga. You can't be teaching about, you know, missiles hitting and shit like that. It's over with for you, nigga. You gonna get your ass out for espionage or whatever that shit is. You know what I'm saying? You know, like, so there's an understanding to a certain limit, you know, based off your lot. But if you're in this position of being a prophet or in this true period, you got to keep digging, keep refining yourself, keep praying, keep fasting, keep working out your own salvation with fear and trembling. So that way, when it's time to get busy, you need to learn how to trim your lamp. You can't just be burning that motherfucker. Yeah, I got a lamp. The Lord gave me this lamp. Yeah, man. See it? You start describing it and shit, and you ain't doing nothing to keep your lamp together. You ain't got no oil up. You just talking about what you got. You know what I'm saying? We talk about that with our little ones. You know, they be getting ready for the shit. Yeah, I'm going to kill it. I'm going to do this. It's like, man, we going to see. And then you know, like, that's how it's supposed to, like, use. Nah, the reality is what you doing in that moment. We got who we think we are. When I got that lamp, it's like, damn, I'm about to make it. But you ain't made it yet. It takes work. It takes effort. You know what I'm saying? That's why we're amongst the hopeful elect to this very day. Anybody got something?
Oh, come.
So 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5, it says, examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that YAHAWASHI HaMashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates?
Yeah. If the Lord is in us, that means we're capable of performing. That means we got the tools. Okay? So there's no excuse for incompetence. You know what I'm saying? As far as not having no oil. You had enough time and there was enough oil. Why the fuck you ain't got none? Or because you was too damn lazy? You definitely don't belong here. You gotta come in through the second death. You gotta eat them nuclear missiles. Because you didn't want the first one. You didn't want the first. Because if you did, you would have did what you're supposed to do. It's just simple, man. There's no loophole to this. Oh, well, I have my like, I gotta go let the dead bury the dead. Mm-hmm. You gotta know how to prioritize. This is supposed to be the first fruits of our labors. And it's hard because Babylon creates burdens, man, through debt, through time, all right, through obligations and shit like that. All right, putting shit in the food, making you tired and shit. You ain't getting enough nutrients. You gotta fight and go find testosterone and shit and go to the gym. You can't just be a regular nigga every day and build muscle.
You gotta supplement testosterone.
You gotta supplement living. So it's hard, you know what I'm saying? But that's our time is hard. We going to Second Ezra, what's the 14th chapter? It says those that remain, you know what I'm saying? Those that remain have it harder than those that pass. You know what I'm saying? But their glory is gonna be better. All right? Because the people that go away, they don't gotta suffer no more. They don't gotta deal with Babylon no more. You know what I'm saying? They finished the race. You know? The ones that remain still gotta you believe and you're willing to do it, but you still gotta do what? You still gotta do it. You still gotta go be stressed out. You know, our brothers, man, you know, that pass away in this truth, and the brothers that know, they know, man, them brothers are good. You know what I'm saying? We're still fighting. You know what I'm saying? And even though they finished the fight, we pretty much got more XP points that we can add on our shit. You know what I'm saying? So we still got an opportunity to increase more than they're increasing, if that makes sense. Because, you know, not saying that Jake ain't putting in the work, because those some great men, man. You know what I'm saying? Great men, and it's not like no race of who's first and who's last. It's just that we take pride in the work we put in.
Yeah.
You know? So with that being said, we're going to give all praises
Unto Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH.
Double honor to our apostles who are elders who rule well. Blessings and salutations to you brothers out there teaching and enduring truth, sincerity. Shalom.
Shalom.